Bible prophecy is active and unfolding daily. Zechariah 12, Isaiah 17, Psalm 83, Ezekiel 38. Here is what the LameStream Media is not telling you. Shalom, my friends. Welcome to this week's newscast. Yoav Situn of Ynet News reported that Hamas naval commandos are planning to attack Israel. He wrote, quote, "Intensive training and advanced equipment are turning Hamas naval commandos into a dangerous new weapon with potential to strike along Israel's coast with little warning, according to recent IDF assessments." During the 2014 Gaza war, 4 Hamas commandos infiltrated from the sea at Zikim Beach and were active for 40 minutes before being killed. Close quote. Officials say the diving equipment they used was the most advanced in the world and was produced in a Western country. Assessments suggest that Hamas still has dozens of the systems that allow operatives to breathe underwater for as long as 4 hours. Meanwhile, Hamas is said to have doubled the size of its naval commando unit in the last year. In response, an advanced military system has been deployed beneath the waves designed to detect any suspicious movements. A similar system has been deployed in northern Israel to counter the threat from Hezbollah, and the Red Sea near Eilat is due to receive the system as well. Mark my words, my friends, the next 18 months are going to bring historic events on planet Earth. Again, I'm referring to the blood moon tetrad and this Shemitah year's forthcoming judgments from Elohim on all those who have turned their back on our Creator. Turning to wars and rumors of wars. On Monday, August 17th, Ynet News reported a Palestinian terrorist stabbed an Israeli border policeman at the Teruah junction in the West Bank. 25-year-old Mohammed Amsha arrived at a checkpoint and told the border police there that he was feeling unwell. Once he came close, he pulled out a knife and attacked one of them before he was shot and killed. Israel's UN ambassador Ron Prosor wrote to the UN Secretary General saying, quote, "This is a disturbing new pattern in which those seeking to murder Israelis take advantage of their humanity. Attacks of this kind are especially outrageous because they take advantage of a person's natural desire to help their fellow man in their time of need in order to kill them." Close quote. Avi Dichter, former head of the Israel Security Agency, stated, quote, "Over the last 40 years that I've been in this business, there has not been a terrorist that attacked an Israeli target without leaving behind someone who knows about it. He wants to get credit, either before or after he does it, whether he gets killed, injured, or escapes the attack." Close quote. Media activist Ahmed Saloom told ARA News, quote, "Fierce clashes took place between rebel factions and ISIS in the vicinity of Azaz and Maria, north of Aleppo." Then on Tuesday, August 18th, Jerusalem Post reported that Israeli security forces prevented the smuggling of 2 tons of fiberglass into Gaza, material essential for constructing long-range rockets. The fiberglass was hidden in a shipment of clothing and textiles. A week earlier, smugglers attempted to import fiberglass hidden in a shipment containing school supplies. The Iranian regime is set to increase funding for terrorist organizations bent on Israel's destruction. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned during a visit to the IDF's Northern Command headquarters, saying, quote, "The money that will flow to Iran-sponsored terrorist organizations will be used for one stated purpose: to destroy Israel." Close quote. An IDF officer said that hundreds of Hezbollah members are present in the Syrian Golan and that Tehran has been behind several recent attacks against Israel. According to Israel Channel 2 TV, Hezbollah has also upped its presence on the Lebanese border with Israel, joining the Lebanese army on patrols and exercises. Then on Wednesday, August 19th, it was reported by the BBC that 82-year-old Khaled Assad, who was head of antiquities at the Roman ruins in the ancient Syrian city of Palmyra, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, was beheaded by ISIS fighters. And Ynet News reported that an Israeli soldier was wounded by an explosive device thrown near a security checkpoint south of Jerusalem. Then on Thursday, August 20th, Haaretz reported that Israeli artillery and planes struck 14 sites in an area under Syrian regime control in the Golan Heights after 4 rockets were fired at the Galilee and the Golan Heights from Syrian territory. An IDF spokesman said, quote, "The army sees Syria as responsible for the fire, which was deliberate and orchestrated," close quote. However, the IDF said Palestinian Islamic Jihad fired the rockets with Iranian funding and direction. So, Iran is now placing attacks on Israel, my friends. The escalation begins. Israel's Foreign Ministry Director General Dor Gold told the Jerusalem Post on Thursday from Berlin that Iran is trying to transfer state-of-the-art weaponry, including the SA-22 air defense system and the Yachont anti-ship cruise missile, from military storehouses in Syria to Hezbollah. Gold said that he briefed German officials on the continued subversive efforts of the Iranians in the Middle East, including efforts over the last 6 months to set up a new Hezbollah front against Israel on the Golan Heights, saying, quote, "When the sanctions on Iran are lifted and they get a cash bonus of up to $150 billion, Iran will then be equipped to radically increase its destabilizing activities along Israel's borders." Then on Friday, August 21st, the Jerusalem Post reported that the IDF struck in Syria on the Golan Heights for a second time Friday morning, killing 4 or 5 members of the Islamic jihadist group responsible for the rocket attack on northern Israel on Thursday. The swift Israeli reaction on Thursday and Friday to the launching of 4 rockets from Syria at the Galilee and Golan shows how Israel intelligence is more than prepared for such attacks. Then on Saturday, August 22nd, members of ISIS killed at least 50 Iraqi soldiers through 2 separate ambush attacks in the Anbar province. And on Monday, August 24th, the BBC reported that ISIS has destroyed Palmyra's ancient temple of Baal Shamin. The temple, built nearly 2,000 years ago and dedicated to the Phoenician god of storms and rains, had been almost totally intact. Of course, if you ask me, they did a good thing by destroying a temple that promotes the worship of fallen angels. Everything is starting to escalate in stronger ways, my friends. Last week, I gave encouragement to those who are fearful about what we see developing throughout the world, saying you don't have to feel that way if you have a serious relationship with our Creator Elohim. Then 2 days later, in my Thursday word study, I expounded on this in a video titled Entering into His Rest. You'll see this graphic at the end of today's newscast, as well as a text link in the More Info section beneath this video. If you haven't watched yet, I encourage you, click the link. Also, at the end of today's newscast, you'll see this graphic, as well as a text link in the More Info section beneath this video, where I did a personal sit-down with my YouTube friends and expressed the things that have been running through my mind about next month's events concerning the 7th Shemitah and the final blood moon of the 2014-2015 blood moon tetrad. Again, I encourage you to watch these videos. So, last week we saw Iran conducting its first real attack on Israel through Syria, along with Hamas advancing its plans to attack Israel. A Palestinian terrorist stabbing an Israeli border policeman, fierce clashes between rebel factions and ISIS in Aleppo, materials for constructing long-range rockets being smuggled into Gaza, the Iranian regime preparing to increase funding for terrorist organizations bent on Israel's destruction, Hezbollah expanding its presence on the Lebanese border with Israel, another beheading by ISIS, an Israeli soldier wounded by an explosive device thrown just south of Jerusalem, Israeli artillery and planes bombing 14 sites in the Golan Heights after 4 rockets were fired at the Galilee and the Golan from Syrian territory via Iran, and again another strike the following day. Iran attempting to transfer state-of-the-art weaponry, including the SA-22 air defense system and the Yakhont anti-ship cruise missile from military storehouses in Syria to Hezbollah. ISIS conducting 2 ambush attacks in Anbar, killing some 50 soldiers, and then destroying a temple in Palmyra. And that, my friends, is what the LameStream Media is not telling you. Abba willing, I'll see you here again next week. Until then, stay safe. Shalom.
Crowded rooms, I need more space than I consume. Enough is time alone with you, underneath the naked moon, sharing confidential moods and making chatter. Mockingbird nocturnal sings notations of eternal things, entering the quantum breeze, flying not for want of wings. He lights his gaze on you and me, simply because we matter.